Alrighty, we are 28 hours away from the FOMC meeting. If we look at Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin probably broke down just ahead of the FOMC meeting. And I think if we look at it logically, probably the market's right here that Powell is going to increase interest rates by 25 basis points at this FOMC meeting. But there is a chart that we need to be watching very, very closely. And that chart that we need to be watching very, very closely is the 𝗕𝗬𝗓. So if you look at the 𝗕𝗬𝗓, this is where we're at. And it just broke up above this support resistance level. And I've seen a lot of these scary, what do you call it? These Wyckoff accumulation, you know, the Wyckoff bears that come out every time that there's a big event and say it's going to play out like a Wyckoff. This one's saying that the 𝗕𝗬𝗓 may actually shoot up to 115, which, I mean, sounds absolutely scary. But that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about this week. We're going to talk about the potential volatility that's coming up this week with FOMC, with the fact that probably 70 or 80% of the S&P 500 companies are reporting. Then we're going to be talking about Worldcoin and whether the price is manipulated. We're going to be talking about Telegram bots, and I've got Gareth Soloway on with me to break down the FOMC and everything that we can expect. So we're starting earlier than usual. It's going to be a big show. Let's go. Listen, by now you should know that the day before FOMC, we always have Gareth on, and we're going to break down exactly what we think is going to happen at the FOMC meeting tomorrow. So it's not really about the interest rate increase. I think everybody knows what the interest rate increase is going to be. I'd be very, very, very surprised if Powell raises more than 25 basis points. But the big question about tomorrow is, what is Powell going to say about inflation? Is he going to acknowledge the fact that inflation has come down? Both the PCE and the CPI have come down a lot and coming down towards his 2% target? Or is he going to take the other side of the coin and say, well, you know, we leave ourselves open to the data and we're going to look at the data and decide whether rate increases are important? That's what we're going to look out for tomorrow. And I think the main thing as a trader is to prepare yourself. And that's why I got Gareth Soloway joining us today. So if you are new to the channel, this is an amazing, amazing, amazing time to subscribe. And I'll show you why in a second. And if you have been here before, just smash that like button. I see we've got 202 likes as I speak. I want that at like 1,000 likes. I want it to happen really, really quickly. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on Gareth. Gareth, my friend, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Ren. How are you?
I feel like I see you more often than I see my wife these days. Between the phone calls, the Twitter spaces, the calls that we have, I think my wife's going to start getting jealous soon.
Tell her it's all good. I got a wife too, so they can just start hanging out.
Yeah, they should start. They should start hanging out. Gareth, let's talk. Let's get into the chart. So we had Bitcoin breakdown. Here, let me just switch to my screen. We had Bitcoin breakdown below that 30,000 or 29,500 range, depending on where you are looking at that range. Probably preempting the FOMC. Some people are saying that this is like a flush out and then it's going to reverse course and go back up. Others are saying that this is actually the breakdown and then we're going to get to the 28,500, 28,600. Let's cut straight to the point. Where are we going with this Bitcoin chart?
Yeah, so there's no doubt that we've broken now below the range that I've been talking about. I think we've been in this range now for well over a month, maybe 6 weeks. So it was long overdue to break one way or the other. It tried to break out to the upside multiple times. Couple things I want to show you. This candle right here, that's called a topping tail. That's a bearish candle. It then retried again, closing above, and you got a reversal candle, a reversal. Notice how the size of the red is equal to the green. That's never a good sign. It then hammered on this, eventually breaking down. So listen, as a trader, all I care about is the levels, right? So first level is around 28.4, 28.3. That's this pivot high. That's going to be first support. If it breaks through that, the big level to watch is around 27,000. All right, it's this upsloping trend line coming all the way back from January of 2023. Now, the reason why this one's the big one, because this is the uptrend trend line, meaning that as long as this one holds, if you're a bull and you think this is a new bull market, then this is your spot. This is your spot to say, okay, as long as this holds, this is a new bull market. If this breaks, the uptrend trend line has broken, and you have to start getting nervous about us starting to trade back towards the lows on Bitcoin. So that's the downside kind of analysis. The upside for bulls, you want to see this 31,000 level broken and it hold above there for about 5 to 7 days. And then I think you're shooting to 35 and maybe 45,000.
Okay, I'm going to ask you as a betting man, I'm going to ask you to take two bets. The first bet is, do we go up from here or down from here? So now it's 29,102. Do you think that this is like the pre-FOMC flash out and then we go up? Or do you think that we go down and we try and test at 27,000?
I'm in the 27,000 camp. I think that, again, there was so many buyers here and they're going to get disappointed as it goes down. You'll see some of those buyers kind of fold and say, hey, listen, now I'm not so confident. And I think that added selling will take us down to 27. 27 is going to be the question mark in my mind. You know, I still think that the risk for crypto is that the stock market rolls over in a major way. And if we see downside of 10, 20% in the NASDAQ, it's hard for me to imagine Bitcoin holding up at 27 or above for that. So again, that would be the case for breaking below 27,000 is if the stock market starts to break down.
Okay, so let's quickly pivot to stock market. So that's the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones right now, if I take it from its all-time high, I'm going to just draw a little line over here. It is 3% away from its all-time high. Then you've got the fear and greed index on the stock market. Extreme greed. I mean, there is extreme greed on the stock market. I'm seeing some really bad signs. I'm seeing the biggest bears in the world capitulate. I mean, I saw this. We were wrong. Morgan Stanley's Wilson offers stocks 𝗪𝗡𝗄𝗫. And this is Mike Wilson, who is a forecaster who's been negative. He's now turned, he's now buckled, if you want to call it that. That to me is never a good sign. That to me is always a sign that it feels awfully toppy. What are you thinking here?
So number one, and you touched on the Federal Reserve tomorrow. We got to touch on that. So the first thing I will say is Jerome Powell is going to remain very hawkish tomorrow. They're raising by 25, and he's going to probably guide that they will have to raise again before the end of the year. I don't think he'll say next meeting, but he'll say before the end of the year. And I want to show you this. This is going to be huge for those of you at home that want to understand. So we know that we saw the CPI data come in dramatically, right? So here's a chart of the CPI data. This is energy. Notice how energy was the biggest component of the CPI data that fell, which brought the overall CPI down to that 3%-ish level. All right, if here's food, and here's all items less food and energy. So we know food was up, energy was down. I want to show you guys this, and this is why CPI is going to stall at 3% and actually probably uptick a little bit, which is going to make it very hard for the Fed to turn dovish. All right, if we look at oil, take a look at oil. Just in the last month, since the last CPI. Now, remember, month over month, CPI fell last time better than expected.
Oil's up 15%. Oil is up 15%.
15% up in oil. All right, how about gasoline, which is a huge component of the CPI, up 15 to 20% in the last month. How about DBA, which is agriculture? Okay, this is agriculture, so corn, wheat, all that. 52-week highs on agriculture. All right, so essentially, if we go back to this, energy is going to go back up this way. Food is going to go up higher. And we already know all other items are still positive. So for me, this is telling me that the Fed is not going to be happy here, and they're likely to stay on the hawkish side at the meeting going forward.
So if you look at the Cleveland Fed, and they're pretty good at forecasting CPI, they actually forecasting a slight uptick in inflation. Inflation was at 3%. They're actually forecasting inflation to go back up to 3.36%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's an uptick. And I must say, one thing I really agree with you on that a lot of people maybe aren't seeing. A lot of people are saying that Powell's going to come out there and he's going to be dovish. He's going to go out there and he's going to say, we've seen inflation starting to come down. We're doing one interest rate increase. And if I look at what the market is forecasting here, let me quickly just show you this. So if you look at what the market is forecasting, the market is currently saying, look, there's an interest rate increase happening now. And then if I look at the future probabilities, there are no more interest rate increases. And actually, there's a decrease happening in March next year. I think the market is absolutely wrong here. Powell's coming out tomorrow, and he's going to say, inflation is too high. We haven't reached our inflation target. We're going to look at the data, and probably more increases are going to happen. And I think that what's going to happen then is the stock markets are going to respond by coming down with a bit of a whack. And then I think you may be right, and Bitcoin breaks down and hits that 20. I think I'm very much in the camp that we're very much firmly in a bull run. But I just think that we may have run. If we just go back to your chart quickly, let's quickly just go back to your chart, which is your Bitcoin chart. I think we just ran too fast, too quickly. If I look at all those green candles, it just feels to me like those green candles went up too fast, too quickly. We've got to come back towards trend, hit the trend line like we hit the last 2 or 3 times, and then bounce back up and then carry on in the bull market. That's really the camp that I'm on. Yeah, I want you, before you go, because I know you got another stream to go to, but I want you to look at the 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏. So the 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏 is here. So I'll show you. That's what the 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏 is. There is that massive support resistance level that the 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏 is kind of just broken. And I'm seeing crypto Twitter, and I'm seeing all the wyckoff patterns and the fact that the dollar is now going to regain into its strength, and wondering what you think when you look at the 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏.
Yeah, so the trend line you're following is definitely an important trend line. I want to show you this trend line, though. So if we take the pivot low going back to 2021 and it connects through here, to me, this is the one that I'm watching, and this is where I think the dollar is going. So I think the dollar is still in a bearish pattern, and I think the dollar will eventually break down, but this is the line that I'm looking at right here, which is right around 102.40. So I think there's a little bit more upside. Makes sense if the Fed is hawkish, the dollar could get a little bit of a bounce, but I think it stalls right there. And I'll show you why this is important. Look at this. So we have a secondary trend line right here, and look at what happened. We came into the line, we bounced, we then came in and broke. We then bounced back to that same trend line. So back to the scene of the crime, we came down, we bounced, we broke down again. It makes sense. We need to go back and retest that line. So it's following the same pattern here, and likely we have to go back here before that next move down. I still think the dollar's ultimately going lower, but I do think there's probably a little bit more upside first to go.
This is classic lower low territory. So you're jumping back up, hitting the trend line, coming back down, low territory. I do think that is one to watch tomorrow as we do the FOMC. I know we'll be live tomorrow on Twitter Spaces. I think you're joining us for that one, Gareth.
Yep.
I also, Gareth, before you go, I know that I want to show you something. So we've got the World Series of Trading with Bybit. I know that you guys are also Bybit partners. But I also know that you guys can't trade on Bybit because you guys are in the United States. So listen to what I've done. So first of all, I want to arrange that anybody that is part of the Gareth referral links can join the Banter Whale Room. The other thing, what I'm doing, and I haven't told you this, so this is the first time you're hearing it, but I think it's going to be good news for you. I've hired a person to be a Gareth trader. And what they're going to do is they're going to take your calls and they're going to trade your calls from your investment service on Bybit. And I'm going to show that account. And the reason I want to show that account is very simple. I, as you know, have recently got access to your verified investing service, and I've been watching those calls. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you've got a 95% hit. What's the hit rate? Like 95% of trades?
96% success rate. Yep. And just to be for transparency, I have two open positions: Ethereum short, Bitcoin short. Bitcoin's out of the money, maybe 2%. Ethereum's in the money about 5%.
So listen, I've been following verified investing. I've been following it recently because you gave me access to it. Full disclosure, I didn't pay for it. I just got free access. And I've been watching the trades because I didn't believe that Gareth could be hitting 96%, because normally traders hit like 50%, and that's 52% is really, really, really good. And I didn't believe that Gareth was hitting those numbers. To be honest, I didn't believe any trader could hit those numbers. I've actually literally followed every single call. Every single one of those calls is real. And I've been watching his trade in and out. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start a service here where I trade the Gareth calls on the Bybit trading competition. It's going to be the Gareth trader. And if, I want to show the community that it works. And then once that works for the community, offer it to our community to actually sign up to your service and everything that we need to do. Because I think, listen, any trader that's getting 96%, that's you've got to take your head off. So, Gary, we'll see you at the Bybit trading competition. I know you need to go and start a stream. We're going to continue with our stream, my friend. Much love. I'll see you later. I'm sure we'll chat tonight like we do every second night. It's we'll chat a bit later, Gary.
Take care, buddy. Thank you.
Cool, buddy. So that's Gareth, and I'm not joking. He does have a 96% hit rate on his trades. I didn't believe it at first, but I've been watching it now. We are going to get the Banter fam a very special deal if they want to join verified investing. So hang in there. Next couple of days, I will drop you guys a link once I've got a good deal with Gareth for the community. Also remember, very, 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 very important to remember, if you want to join our Banter squad in the Bybit trading competition, all you need to do, there's a link below. You need to just sign up with any Crypto Banter referral link, which most of you already have, and then just go. In fact, let's do this together so that you know exactly how to do it. You click on that. Next couple of days, I will. You go here. you go to the, if you haven't already signed up to Bybit and you want to join the competition, sign up using this link over here. But otherwise, just click here, click that link. It'll take you to the World Series of Trading competition. Join our squad. You can see I've already joined. It's called the Banter Well Room. 372 people have joined. Join us. We're gonna win this competition, and we're gonna be the biggest squad in the competition. And it's just gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna have a special Discord for you guys. We're gonna have special live trading sessions for the guys in the Discord, and we're really gonna take this thing seriously. So join us and let's make this thing happen. I see 372 people have signed up already. Let's see if by the end of the show we can get to 600 people. I'm counting on you guys. Let's go. Anyway, let's also talk about some alpha. But before we do, I want you guys all in the comments to say a very big thank you to Josh. Josh, thank you, sir. And the reason why I'm thanking Josh is because today, like I requested yesterday, if you go to Banter Bubbles and you click on plus filter and you click on Telegram bots, you can now see all the Telegram bots bubbles in one bubble. So he managed to put it off for us overnight. Josh, thank you. Matt, who heads up the development team, thank you, sir. But you can see exactly what's happening now, and I think this is an amazing service. So thank you, guys. It looks amazing. It looks absolutely amazing. Also, remember, you can pop this bubble. Maybe I'll win. I promise you it's not rigged. Okay, oops, maybe. See, if it was rigged, I would have won. Anyway, let's actually go to the bubbles. Let us just close that filter. Let us go to today. Hold on a second. Let's go to today. Can I get out of this filter? Josh, can I ever get out? Oh, I've got to get rid of this Telegram bot. So, okay, top 100. Not much movement in the top 100. I guess the coins that actually are moving today. XDC, this one moves up and it moves down. You've got Doge. We're going to talk about Doge today. We're going to talk about Worldcoin. We're going to talk about whether the price is manipulated. There's been a lot of people talking about, there's been a lot of controversy around Worldcoin and whether it's good or not and whether the price is manipulated or not. Be that as it may, it currently has a fully diluted valuation of $21 billion, which does make it the fourth biggest coin out there. And the question is it really justified or should you be going short? Now, full disclosure, I had a big short position on Worldcoin. I closed it. So you can see that what I did was I had the short position, I took it yesterday. So I had it like, hold on a second. Let's see. So I had the position from yesterday and I closed the short. So you can see I shorted it here, which was about $2.58. And I closed the short over here, which was about $2.01. I made a lot of cash on that position. And I'm going to show you why, even though I think this thing is very, very, very overvalued, I'm still too scared to go short. And I'll show you why, because it's a very, very, very big lesson for you guys and for your portfolios. So that's it for the announcements. Let's get into some more alpha. I think let's quickly start off with where we're at. It is a big week when it comes to traditional markets, and that is going to affect our crypto markets. So you do have the FOMC. We spoke about the FOMC. I think we need to watch out for the FOMC. We need to be very, very careful because, as Gareth hinted, even though the market is forecasting a 25 basis point rate hike, and we're going to get that 25% basis point rate hike, no doubt, the market is forecasting no additional interest rate increases. And I think the market is very wrong here. And I think that what's going to happen tomorrow is Powell is going to say that we haven't hit our inflation targets. We're expecting inflation to go up again. And we are, and he's going to say something like, the committee members all believe that there's going to be more interest rate increases. And then just on top of that, I think when there is that dot plot, where they plot the dots, I think they're going to all plot the dots higher than tomorrow's interest rate. And when that happens, I think that's going to frighten the markets. And I think that's going to send the traditional markets down. And I think it's going to send the Bitcoin down. But I don't think that you should worry, because I do think that we're going to be firmly in a bull market, as Gareth showed, where Gareth zoomed out and he drew this trend line over here. I think it's more or less this trend line over here. I'm obviously not doing it very accurately, but as long as we stay on that trend line, that's what's going to happen. So tomorrow, what I'm going to do when the FOMC happens, I'm going to take a short position on Bitcoin, and I'm going to leverage that short position on Bitcoin, and I'm going to watch and see what happens, because that's what I believe is going to happen. And if I'm right, I'm right, and if I'm wrong, then I'll get liquidated, and life goes back to normal, and we carry on. So that is what I think is going to happen. I think you got to watch out for those little pricklies. And tomorrow, I think Powell is going to come out with a whole lot of little pricklies, and I think you should be ready for that. So if you're holding bad positions right now, now is a good time to reverse those bad positions. I could be wrong, but I guess that's my thesis. The other thing that we need to look at is to say that the stock market is very, very, very overheated. It's at extreme greed. You've got all the bears capitulating. And when bears capitulate, that is usually the end of the run. So you've got to be careful. The other thing we have is earnings. We have a lot of stock market earnings. In fact, I saw this stat over here that said today, Microsoft, Google, Visa, all these guys are reporting today. Before the 7th of August, 80% of all the companies on the market will have reported. And if I look at what's happened with the reporting season so far, 87 companies have reported. The good news is 78% of them beat estimates by an average of 6.2%. So far earnings are okay. I don't think that the pricklies, the thorns, are in the stock market. I think the pricklies are going to be in the FOMC meeting. And that's why I say be careful of that FOMC meeting. I think that it's going to shock the market and it's going to be a little bit of pricklies. And that's why we said prepare for the market. And, you know, I'm a bull and I remain a bull, but I just think that the market is unfortunately geared up with false, bad expectations. And when the market gets surprised and the expectations of the market get shocked, we usually have a short-term downside. So tomorrow, for the first time in a long time, I'm going to go into FMC short. I'm going to open an account. I'm just going to go short in that account. I'm going to go short like a degen leveraged ape. I'm going to go on the maximum leverage, and we're going to watch that account together and see exactly what happens. So that is traditional markets, and we spent a lot of time talking about traditional markets because I do think that they're going to have a massive impact on the Bitcoin market. When it comes to Bitcoin, so I mean, Joe, our analyst, who's right about 46.2% of the time and wrong about 53.88% of the time. He says that this is just a flash and we're probably going to go up. He may be right. Let's see if this is part of the 46 or the 52. He wasn't too concerned about this move. He subscribes to this school of thought. He said, look, we broke this range. It wasn't broken on high volumes. He said, look, there wasn't really much volume here. We probably ran too far up because of ETF mania, and now we're just starting to cool down. Be that as it may, it doesn't affect the volatility of Bitcoin. So if you look at the volatility of Bitcoin, or you look at the volatility of crypto, we are at the lowest levels of volatility that we've seen since this chart goes back, and this chart goes back, I mean, let's just see how far this chart actually goes back. It goes all the way back to April 2019, this is the lowest level of volatility. And if you look at 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏 and you look at their Bitcoin volatility index, which is called the 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏, again, even with this move in Bitcoin, as you can see, we are pretty much at the lowest volatility ever. Now, usually, yesterday we had a show where we spoke about options and how options traders make decisions. And what the options trader said is usually when you get to a point where there's low volatility, eventually it spikes up and we start actually getting volatility. So expect volatility this week. And I'm not sure where the volatility is going to come from, but expect volatility this week. So be ready for volatility. And I think in this case, the volatility actually goes down. I did see this chart over here, which shows that if you look at, say, for example, the last month, the positive returns actually come out of Asia. And the negative returns are coming from Europe and the United States. It almost shows like a tale of two continents or two sides. On the one hand, you've got the Asian people. They are much more bullish. You've got the Europeans who are kind of neutral, but you know, maybe following the US. And then you've got the US, which is the most bearish. So it is really a tale of two sides. And if I look to Asia, if I look to see what's happening in Asia, something very interesting happened in Asia this morning. I don't know if you guys were paying attention. For those in the US, you're probably asleep. So let me tell you exactly what happened. The Hong Kong stock market, when I woke up this morning, was 4.1% up. Okay, now that's a massive move up for the Hong Kong stock market. Why is that important? Because the reason why the Hong Kong stock market was up is because China has announced a slew of measures to bolster its economy. Now, you know, because you were here in class last week and the week before and the year before, and what you can see is China announced a slew of measures. This slew of measures is actually stimulus. They don't call it stimulus. They don't say, look, we're going to propeller drop checks and give everybody money. But they announced a slew of measures to bolster the economy, i.e., we are going to stimulate our economy. Why are we going to stimulate our economy? Because our economy is completely screwed up. If you look at the Chinese economy, the real estate companies are posting huge losses. I mean, billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of losses. And the Chinese government is realizing that it's in trouble. And so it is announcing a whole host of measures. Now, they stopped short of actually calling this a stimulus, but we know what this means. This is a stimulus. In the past week, authorities have announced a series of pledges targeted at specific sectors or aimed at reassuring private and foreign investors of a more favorable investment environment. If you take that and you put it into Google Translate and you say, translate from English into explain it to me like I'm 5, what you get is there is stimulus coming in China, and that's why the Hong Kong stock market jumped up 4.1%. So that's what's happening on the other side of the continent. Also, on the other side of the continent is Japan. Now, Japan has a very big conference going on now, which is called WebEx. So we've got a couple of our people at WebEx. WebEx is I guess you can call it future internet, future of the web, or future of technology expo. And you can see that unlike the US, where you would never, ever, ever see Joe Biden at a internet Web3 AI conference, in Japan, the prime minister was there. And one of the things that he said Web3 is a part of the new form of capitalism. There was also a lot of talk about metaverse, and there was a lot of talk about how important it is for Japan to be part of the metaverse. You had big players there. You had like people like the CTO of 𝗕𝗵𝗡𝗫, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓𝗏. This guy's one of the smartest guys in the industry. You know, love 𝗕𝗵𝗡𝗫 or hate 𝗕𝗵𝗡𝗫. This is one of the smartest guys in the industry. I've often been on panels with him, and technically he's unbelievably sound. Also, you had chairman of the policy for research of the Democratic Party. What I'm trying to show you is that it's a tale of two countries and a tale of two states. The US doing everything that they can to destroy crypto, and Asia, Hong Kong opens up, Japan's prime minister appears at WebEx, the Japanese political people. I mean, I was at Consensus, and at Consensus, I didn't see Joe Biden. I didn't see him at all. And then I went to Bitcoin 2023, didn't see Joe Biden there either, didn't even radio in, didn't see him anywhere. But in Japan, it's a very, very, very different picture. Also good to see CZ there. And I mean, get this guy. Like, you got to give the guy max respect.
こんにちは。私はバイナンスの CZ です。しばらくですね。日本語はそれで全部です。Yeah, please don't judge me for my limited Japanese. I did live in Japan for many years early in my career as a developer, not so strong at learning the language. I love everything about Japan. Japan has a very special place in my heart. I love the food, the people, the environment, the industry, etc. It's fantastic to see Japan being a leader in the Web3 regulatory environment. Japan had very clear regulations from 2017 with crypto exchange regulations. And more recently, this year, with the opening up of crypto listing frameworks, as well as in June, the passing of the stablecoin regulations. So Japan is a flagship leader in this area, and I think it's an example for the rest of the world to follow. And to that end, Binance is extremely happy to be able to participate in the Japanese market again, from the acquisition of the SEBC platform last November, and we're going to launch the full service in August. So hopefully we'll see you on our platform again, and see you soon in Japan. Cheers.
So good for Binance. Binance making inroads into Japan. Again, they were obviously in there. They got kicked out when the regulations came in. Now they're in, which is good for crypto, because the same Binance that you trade on is the same Binance that Japanese people are going to trade on there or thereabout. I mean, it's not exactly the same platform, but at least we now start getting, Binance being able to offer more services legally in different countries. And Japan is super, super, super important for crypto. In fact, one of the most important countries when it comes to crypto. Charles Hoskinson, when he did the raise for Cardano, he spent a lot of time in Japan, and all the investors there are a lot of the investors are Japanese. Also, you'll see tomorrow we're going to introduce one of our new sponsors, and again, very, very, very strong Japanese community. So don't discount Japan, and don't discount Asia, because as I said to you, it might not be the best thing in the world in the US, and the US may be having FOMC meetings, but Asia doesn't care about the FOMC meetings. And you kind of need to look at this chart over here. This is the only chart that you really need to look at. You say, look, while the US is in a decline, Asia is actually positive, 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 positive. So it's not all doom and gloom. Anyway, let's get into the controversy of the day. And why did I close my Worldcoin short? if I do believe that WorldCoin is completely overvalued, why do I believe that WorldCoin is actually overvalued, and why is there so much controversy around WorldCoin? So I think let's talk about it, because I think it does warrant a little bit more discussion. Remember, we did speak about it yesterday. For those of you who missed the show, one of our best shows ever. I think what we managed to uncover yesterday that nobody else was talking about is that actually when you look at WorldCoin and you look at Elon Musk and Dogecoin and Twitter, there is a war going on for, let's call it, world financial domination. Elon has been actually trying to do this world financial domination for a long, long, long time. And when he bought Twitter, he said that Elon says X will soon be the ability to conduct your entire financial platform. He said something similar when he actually bought Twitter. And as I played this for you yesterday, but I know some people weren't in class yesterday because they thought I was still on vacation.
If done right, the X would be would serve people's financial needs to such a degree that over time it would become, I don't know, maybe half of the global financial system.
Wow.
Or some big number. Okay. I'm not sure what the number is, but pretty big.
Half of the world's global financial system. Now, usually when people say that, I'd say, look, you guys are smoking your socks. But when I listen to Elon Musk, who's one of the best executors in the world, say that, I realized this guy's working towards a vision. And the reason why I bought Twitter is because he knew that that was the tool to get distribution of his financial services product. And that's probably why, if we look at Dogecoin, and we look at Dogecoin, let's look at Dogecoin relative to BTC, so Doge BTC. You'll see that probably Doge is one of the only coins that has outperformed BTC in this drop, because people really believe that Dogecoin may actually be there. And to be honest, I don't believe that what Elon will do is just abandon the Dogecoin holders. I actually really believe that he'll take Dogecoin along for the ride. That's why I've got I'm long Dogecoin on my Bybit account. I'll see if I can actually show you the position for those of you who missed it. There it is. There is my position. Actually, compliments of Sheldon. I'm $12,000 up on this position. I wouldn't be aping into this position now. I think you've missed this pump, but I do think keep your eyes open there. But I think what we uncovered yesterday was that WorldCoin is a play to dominate the world financial system, and Twitter has been playing the same game, and Elon has actually been playing that game for a very, very, very long time. In fact, here is a video.
Transform the traditional banking industry. I do not fit the picture of a banker.
X.com, this is Julie.
Raising $50 million is a matter of making a series of phone calls, and the money is there. I've sunk the great majority of my net worth into X.com, which is the new banking and mutual funds company on the internet that I've started.
Big X.
Exactly. X.com. I think X.com could absolutely be a multi-billion-dollar bonanza, because if you look at the industry that X is pursuing, it's the biggest sector of the world economy.
So that's Elon in 1999 when he raised money for X.com. X.com actually became PayPal, and that was the company that actually became PayPal. But I think that what Elon is doing is he's had like this vision in his head from way back then, and he just doesn't want to let this vision go. And what he saw with Twitter is a chance to revive that. Now, bear in mind that when Elon bought Twitter, Elon paid $44 billion. Okay, so $44 billion for an app that's got millions and millions and millions of users. And the valuation of Twitter is about, or probably less than $44 billion. Why? Because we all know that Elon actually overpaid on Twitter. That's no big secret. So now you have WorldCoin, which launched. And for those of you who missed yesterday's show, quick recap. WorldCoin launched by Sam Altman. Sam Altman is the guy that created OpenAI. Elon was one of the original investors. Elon wanted to run OpenAI, the company that created ChatGPT. Sam Altman said absolutely not. And since then, they've kind of had a fallout. And now they're both competing for world domination. Elon said that X.com has the ability to take over half the financial system of the world. And this one, WorldCoin says it is designed to become the world's largest human identity and financial network, giving ownership to everyone. So both of them are going for the same hairy, audacious goal, which is to create world domination when it comes to creating the new age financial institution, or to creating the new age finance. So that's what they both are. Why did I short WorldCoin? Because I think that if you look at WorldCoin, a lot of people are not seeing the wood from the trees here. And even some popular YouTubers, I'm not going to name and shame, because I think they all do a great job, but I do want to show you something. A lot of people are looking at WorldCoin and saying, look, the market cap's only $235 million. It's a very small market cap. But what they're missing is that the fully diluted market cap is $21 billion. Now, that means that right now, WorldCoin has the same as a valuation of 50% of the valuation of Twitter. Twitter is tens of years old, has an amazing product, has network effects, and has a whole lot of users. And WorldCoin is basically a startup. I mean, it's not a startup, but it's not much more of a startup. Now, yes, WorldCoin can succeed. I have no doubt that WorldCoin can succeed. But there are concerns around it, and it's certainly not a sure thing. Yes, it's got the right people behind it, but it's certainly not a sure thing that WorldCoin will succeed. So when the market gives it a valuation of $21 billion fully diluted, I start asking a lot of questions. And I think I'm in the camp here where Mike Duda says he's hearing a lot of rumors that WorldCoin might be artificially inflated. And that's exactly what's going on here. Now, you've got to be able to see this because this is where they catch retail investors out. Ari Paul wrote a blog. He says, how do you manipulate the market? Well, what do? You take a very small part of the tokens and you put them into circulation. You give it just a little bit of an airdrop and you put a whole small bunch of tokens into circulation. And the rest of the tokens, you give a whole lot of tokens to market makers. Now, what are market makers? Market makers are people that make a market. What do they mean by make a market? They need to make sure that if there's a buyer, there's always a seller. And if there's a seller, there's always a buyer. They make the market because there's not enough tokens in the market. But what the market makers inevitably do, and specifically with what they call low circulation, high fully diluted valuation coins. Now, that's a very key term that you need to remember. Low token circulation, and more tokens are going to come onto the market. High fully diluted valuation. So again, let's go back to it. High fully diluted valuation. $21 billion fully diluted valuation, market cap of $235 million. That means there's very few tokens in circulation. What's the problem here? The problem is that the market makers have got a whole lot of tokens that they've got from the project to support the market. We know what that means. Support the market means manipulate the market. For those of you who don't know, just go to Google Translate and just say, what does support the market means? It'll say manipulate the market. They manipulate the market up. And it's very easy to manipulate the market up. Why is it very easy for them to manipulate the market up? Because there's a very low number of tokens in circulation. So let's actually look at WorldCoin. I hope it's got WorldCoin. Yes, it has. Let's go there quickly. Look at the number of tokens that are here in circulation. In fact, let's just change this screen view. Look at the number of tokens that are here in circulation. Oh, goodness. Okay, hold on. What the hell is going on here? Let's just refresh that. Okay, these screens are very, very, very sensitive. Okay, you see that? That's the number of tokens in circulation. Tiny, 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 tiny number of tokens in circulation, which means it's very, very, very easy to manipulate. But as time goes by, more and more tokens come out for the investors and for everybody else. And what happens is the value of the token, the number of tokens increases. And as there are more tokens, there's not enough buyers to buy them up. And eventually what happens is the price goes down. So in this case, I believe that the WorldCoin price will drop, just like I told you, the Aptos price would drop and the 𝗬𝗏 price would drop. And I was right on both of those. I was also right, I don't know if you guys remember Moonbeam and Moonriver, but as more tokens came onto the market, the retail investors were the ones that got screwed, the ones that bought first. Big question. If that's the case, why did I close my short? I'll tell you why I closed my short. I'm very scared to mess with market makers who are backed by the biggest billionaires in the world around their coin. And even though I think in the long term, the prices are going to go down, I think in the short term, the market makers can very, very, very easily manipulate the market, which is, I think, exactly what they're doing. And so that's why, even though I thought the market was going to carry on going down, I closed my short very, very quickly. And to be honest, if it gets up to 250 again, I'm going to open the short again and I'll let you guys know. That's why I closed the short. I think also probably what's worth talking about here is let's actually talk about a new category of tokens that WorldCoin has actually created. So WorldCoin has come out solving a massive problem. It solves actually two problems. The first, and for those of you who don't remember how WorldCoin does what it does, it has this thing called the 𝗚𝗏. Okay, that's the 𝗚𝗏. Now the 𝗚𝗏 is a eye scanner, a retina scanner, and that proves that you're actually human. So why do you need to prove that you're human? Because I'm not sure where you guys live, but I can tell you that where I live, a lot of people can't get into the banking system and can't get into the financial system because they don't have an identity. They don't have an identity document. They are rural people. They are farmers. They are unsophisticated. They don't have identities. Or if they do have identities, the identities can't be verified. So you need to verify their identity. And that way, a person in the United States can loan a person in Africa or in India or in Brazil or wherever else, can actually loan them money because they know who they are and they know where to find them and they know what their identity is. You cannot lend someone cannot be a part of the financial system unless they have an identity. And what WorldCoin actually does is it gives everybody an identity. But it also takes it one step further. And that step further is what they called proof of, what do you call it? Proof of personhood. Basically what it means is, how do you prove in the new age of AI that you are actually a person? Because I've seen some deep fakes of myself, which are much better looking and speak much better, but sound exactly like me. In this world, you have to know how to prove that in the next 2 years, AI is going to become so good that you're not going to be able to tell AI video from normal video. You think it's going to be a problem in 2 years? It was a problem recently when European politicians duped into deepfake video calls with the mayor of Kiev. I don't know if you guys remember that. And I don't know if you remember when they spoke to 𝗏𝗏. Do you remember that there was a discussion? Was it the Ukrainian prime minister who spoke to 𝗏𝗏? One of them spoke to 𝗏𝗏, speaking to a deep fake. So what we know is that in this new world, there is going to be a new category of proving that you're actually a human. Because AI is going to become so good that you're not going to be able to tell the difference via a call. So how do you prove that you're a human? Well, that is what Vitalik wrote a blog about. And in the blog, he spoke about, like the unique human problem. How do you confirm that you are actually a unique human problem? Now, yes, you can do the whole crypto thing where you hold up your photo and your passport, and then it says to you, look left, you look left, you look right, you look right. Okay, but that's not real because you can actually get dummies to do that. You can get dolls, you can get a whole lot of other things to do that for you, right? And so you need to find a way to prove that people are human and to prove that people are alive. And the way that WorldCoin has done it is WorldCoin uses your eyes. Why do they use your eyes? Because you have a responsive retina. Remember that, if you want to check if a person is dead or dying, the first thing you do is you shine a torch into the eye and you see if their retina starts moving. That means the person's awake. That means the person's alive. So that is why they have gone for this eye thing. Now, yes, there's a whole lot of controversy as to whether they're storing the data, not storing the data, as to whether it may be more centralized. And Vitalik talks about all of this in his blog. He speaks about the problems. The biggest problem that he says is, it may be centralized, okay, but it's not because it uses zero knowledge technology, which means it doesn't actually store the data. He also says, look, he's worried about the actual 𝗚𝗏 machine. And he says, unless you've got an 𝗚𝗏 machine, you can't participate, which means that logistically it's very, very hard. But I don't see any other way. How do you go and capture the whole world's eyeballs if you don't have a standardized machine? He's also worried that the manufacturers of this 𝗚𝗏 are unreliable and that the technology is unreliable. All very valid concerns, but not concerns that are very serious concerns, if you know what I'm saying. And so I think that what actually happened here, and what I want you guys to look out for, and what I want to where the alpha is here, because remember I like to give you guys tradable alpha, is I think there's going to be a new category of coins, and that category of coins is called proof of humanness, proof of life, proof of personhood, proof of personhood coins. Now, we've identified 4 tokens that are in the proof of personhood category. First one is obviously WorldCoin. Then you've got Civic, which is Vinnie Lingham's gig, which has been doing this for a long time, and they're doing it. Then you've got a thing called Bright ID. Now, Bright ID is actually quite unique. What Bright ID do is they create a social network. So if I know that 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is a human, then I just say, yes, I know 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is a human. And if he knows that James is a human, then he says, well, James is a human. In fact, I think they explain it best. There's a little video here. Just watch 1 minute of this video. It'll give you a great feel for it. Let's see if we can.
There will come a day when all citizens of the world will vote together to make decisions for their future. But how will we make sure that each person has only one vote and that the votes are not exploited by bots and their masters. Bots and people are getting harder to tell apart, making it ever more difficult to distribute all kinds of resources and rights. This is leading us to a world where bots take all the advantages and real people are excluded. Bright ID comes to the rescue. It helps apps keep bots out and make sure every human has only one account. But how? Each person creates an account and makes connections to people they know. Personal data is shared person to person.
So you see, so essentially, it's a personal. I just verify people. I know you verify people. You know, and you're doing it. I'm not saying whether that's good or bad. I'm not going to judge it because I don't have enough knowledge to judge it. What I want to show you, and I think the alpha here is, there is a new category that Worldcoin has created, which is proof of personhood, proof of life, proof of humanness, proof that you are actually a human. And it is going to be a category that you need to be paying attention to. We've identified 4 tokens for you guys very, very early. And again, not telling you whether to buy them or sell them yet because we're not there yet, but just showing you that there is a new category there and that you need to be able to read this narrative when it happens. All right, a couple of other things. Oh, so I've been quite vocal about 𝗏𝗏 Exchange. But actually today I changed my tune a little bit. I'm a big boy. I can change my tune. It's all in our newsletter, by the way, in Good Morning Crypto, which you can subscribe to. And they broke the news that there was an 𝗏𝗏 bounty of around $5,000, which went to a couple of crypto investigators who found clues related to 𝗏𝗏𝗃's wallet activity. So that people wanted to know which one was 𝗏𝗏𝗃's wallet, and they went to the 𝗏𝗏 Exchange, and they managed to find some of the wallets or something like that. So there's good and bad when it comes to that. There's good and bad when it comes to that. Telegram bots, they're growing. We keep talking about Telegram bots. I do think this is an amazing sector. It keeps exploding in usage. As you can see, this is the total number of Telegram bot users. So don't discount this thing. If there's a dip, be buying the dip. Again, big thanks to Josh who made us a category on Banter Bubbles, which is called Telegram bots, which you can just click now and you can just see the price performance of all the Telegram bots. I think that's like a really cool thing. So you can see today 𝗓𝗏 is up 65%. I actually own that one. 𝗏𝗏 is up 41%. I own that one too. I took a whole lot of very small bets on these bots. Very risky bet, but probably worth doing. We do have another sponsor which I want to show you, and then I'm going to show you one last thing. The sponsor is OpenX. I told you a long time ago that I'm a big fan of what these guys are doing. It's a derivatives exchange, but it's not the normal derivatives exchange. It is a normal derivatives exchange, but it also has additional features. And the additional features are that if you have a claim against FTX, for example, what you can do is you can use your claim to start trading. So for example, if you had money on FTX and you want to take that money, which you may get in many, many, many years, you can actually use that claim on FTX to actually start trading derivatives on OpenX, which is the open exchange. So this is it. There's a link below. It's called opnx.com. Go and check it out. It's a derivatives exchange, just like Bybit and all the other derivatives exchanges. The only difference is that here you can use your claims to trade. You can use your claims to start trading. So we will be talking a lot more about open exchange, but for now, go and check it out. There's a link below. You can deposit money. You can also just go and check it out. But really, trust me, this is something to look out for. As I said, I know I'm not going to win any popularity contest because a lot of people say, oh, but this was Carl and Suzu. I'm a big supporter of these guys. I think these guys are getting back up. So go and check it out. And then again, I just want to remind you guys, lastly, again, we want to win this Bybit competition. But not only that, we want to be the strongest team and have the most players in the Bybit competition because there's strength in numbers here because they take our top winners and they do it. We had 372 people when Gareth joined. How many of you signed up during the show? I think we were going for 500 with 395. Where are you guys? Hello, 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗏. Rise and shine. Let's do this. What else? Is there anything else? We've got like 1 or 2 minutes left. Let's quickly look at the bubbles. Let's quickly look at the top 100 bubbles. Anything happening on the bubbles? Let's see. Josh, I think you made our bubbles very, very, very... Oh, sorry, it's my bad. I think you made our bubbles very, very slow today with your Telegram bot. Okay, it is hanging. Okay, but we'll sort that out. I will see you guys again in a few minutes on Twitter Spaces. Until then, trade well, my friends.